The glass lobby on the 42nd floor of Van Holt Global gleamed like a cathedral of steel and light. Elias Brooks, single dad and night shift janitor, wiped the windows with slow, practiced strokes. A cheap phone was pressed to his ear, and he spoke softly in perfect Dutch, the rare border town dialect only a handful of people on Earth still used. Aria Van Holt was walking past with her morning coffee when she heard it. She froze. Every syllable, every intonation, every delicate rise and fall. It was her father's dialect. Her father's voice. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She stepped closer. "Excuse me, where did you learn to speak my father's dialect?" Elias looked up, silent for several seconds. When he finally answered, it was in that same dialect, and Aria's whole body went rigid. His name was Elias Brooks. 37, worked nights, quiet, polite, invisible. A widowed single father to little Sophie, age 7, brilliant girl, loved books, spoke 3 basic languages already. Elias did his job with meticulous care and kept his head down. Nobody noticed him, but Aria noticed him now. After her father's sudden death, she had taken over the empire he built. She was 30, youngest billionaire in the shipping world, brilliant and ruthless when she needed to be. But hearing that dialect, it cracked something open inside her. One Thursday night, she stayed late. Passing the break room, she heard Elias again, gentle, soothing, speaking to his daughter in flawless border Dutch. The same tender phrases her father used when tucking her in. The same bedtime rhyme. The same lullaby. Her breath caught. It felt impossible. Why would a night janitor in New York speak an almost extinct dialect from a tiny Dutch border village her father grew up in? A dialect not taught, not written, not recorded. A dialect passed down through families like a secret inheritance. She began lingering late on purpose just to hear him. The sound brought back her childhood, her father's arms, the safety of his voice. But she never approached him. Until the night everything collapsed. Richard Caldwell, head of operations, spotted Elias on the phone and immediately attacked him in front of half the staff. "No personal calls during your shift. You wanna get fired." Elias's daughter's tiny voice crackled through the speaker. He lowered the phone slowly. "I apologize, sir. It won't happen again." Humiliation, shame, silence. Aria's throat tightened. This was her fault. She'd hesitated, and now he was being torn apart for comforting his child. She said nothing, and hated herself for it. The next morning, she made a decision. "Bring me Elias Brooks, conference room. 10 a.m. At exactly 10, Elias stood before her, rigid, respectful, confused. She switched to the dialect. "Who taught you my father's voice?" Elias's eyes widened. He answered in the same dialect, quiet, steady. "A man who saved my life." Aria's knees nearly buckled. She opened a folder, pressed play on an old audio file. Her father's voice filled the room. Elias staggered back, hand gripping the table. That's him. "You knew my father," she whispered. Elias nodded, tears in his eyes. 12 years ago, at the Rotterdam port, a container stack collapsed. I should have died. Everyone ran, except him. Aria's hand flew to her mouth. He lifted the steel off me, spoke to me in that dialect, told me stories about his daughter to keep me awake. He saved my life. He wrote his name on a scrap of paper and told me, if life gets dark, find Van Holt. They help honest men. Elias swallowed hard. I never found him. I came here hoping to thank him. But he was already gone. Aria's vision blurred. Her father had carried this alone. Quietly, selflessly, just like always. She turned toward Elias. "You came here to thank a ghost. And we let you clean our floors." She ripped the janitor badge from his uniform and dropped it on the table. "My father trusted you with his voice. I trust you with his legacy." 10 minutes later, in front of the entire operations team, she announced. Effective immediately, Elias Brooks is promoted to Assistant Director of Operations and Safety. Richard Caldwell tried to protest. Aria crushed him with a single sentence. "You humiliated a man my father saved. That ends today." Elias could barely breathe. Aria smiled through tears. "You're not invisible anymore. Part 2. 3 months later, Van Holt Global was transformed. Elias redesigned the warehouse systems from scratch. Accidents dropped 40%. Injuries nearly vanished. Workers respected him. He knew their struggles, their world, their dignity. He wore a suit now. But he still arrived early and greeted every janitor by name. Arya watched his rise with warmth swelling in her chest. Her father had believed in him. And he was proving why. One evening, she drove to his modest home. Sophie answered the door, bright-eyed and excited. "Papa, there's a fancy lady here." Inside, the small house was filled with books, drawings, laughter. Sophie chattered endlessly, showing Arya her treasures. "Papa teaches me 3 languages," she said proudly. Arya knelt, spoke in the border dialect. "Hello, Sophie. I'm happy to meet you." Sophie gasped. "You speak Papa's special Dutch." Arya smiled softly. "My papa spoke it too." Sophie grabbed Arya's hand. "Then our papas are connected." Later, at the kitchen table, Arya slid a wooden box to Elias. "I found this in my father's office." Inside was an old map of the Netherlands. And a handwritten note, "To the man I saved, so he may one day find his way." Elias's voice trembled. "He was planning to find me." Arya nodded. "He never forgot you. Not for a single day." Tears slid down Elias's cheeks. "I wish I could have thanked him." Arya reached for his hand. "You're thanking him now, by being the man he believed you were." A year later, at the company's memorial for Henrik van Holt, Arya announced a new scholarship. The Van Holt Dialect Fund, supporting immigrant children learning endangered languages. The first director, Elias Brooks. He stepped to the podium, Sophie beside him. "I came here searching for a ghost," he said quietly. "Instead, I found a family." Sophie took the microphone, fearless and glowing. In perfect border dialect she said, "Thank you for my father. Thank you for your father. Thank you for bringing them together." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Later that evening, Arya and Elias walked the same 42nd floor hallway where it all began. "Do you ever miss it?" she asked softly. "Being unseen." "Sometimes," Elias said with a smile. "But then I remember why I'm here. For Sophie. For the workers. For your father."